Hi guys! Wow, it's been a while and I'm really happy to be back today, and I thought that it would be nice to share some positivity and some beautiful things with you for my comeback and also in those difficult times. So before I get right into this, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, which is Skillshare. So yes, Skillshare once again very kindly sponsoring this video, and you've heard me talk about Skillshare before, so now you probably know what it is, but in case you do not, Skillshare is an online learning platform with thousands of options as to what you can learn. They have classes on pretty much anything you can think of. They have classes on web design, on illustration, on knitting, on finances, on being an entrepreneur, on writing stories, on photography, editing, anything you want to learn, anything you want to get better at, Skillshare has it for you. I personally really like their classes on writing, I like their classes on illustration, I like their classes on being organized and dealing with your own finances and your own schedule. Lately I've been really enjoying their classes on writing because I'm planning on hopefully really soon getting back into writing, so maybe that will be a next video for us. But this class particularly is really interesting, and I think it is super motivating because for me writing is something so personal yet so intimidating at the same time, and I really like the way they talk about writing, and I love the different steps they give you so that you can finally with ease and confidence get back into this habit, or maybe create this new habit for you. So if you're interested in trying Skillshare, there's going to be a link in the description box below, and the first person who's going to click on the link will get a free membership trial. If you want to continue with it, Skillshare is also very affordable because it's about $10 a month for all the different classes that you can have access to. So yeah, as you can probably tell by the title, I wanted to share with you some of my favorites. Those are not gonna be my favorites of the month, those are gonna be my favorites of January and February, I suppose, because it's really like the beginning of the year, the things I've been loving, and we're gonna talk about books and movies and TV shows and Instagram accounts and YouTube, so I hope you like it, and feel free to share your favorites as well, because I think it's always really interesting, and I'm always on the hunt for amazing, inspiring, positive, uplifting, interesting things to discover. Okay, let's start with books. So as you probably know, I read a lot of books, and I have a literary channel, which is unfortunately, I guess, only in French, but that's what I'm really focusing on at the moment. And I do read a lot of really good books, but I want to talk about two books that really made a huge impression that had a really huge impact on me on these few months. So the first one I want to talk about is Gunnar's Daughter by Sigrid Undset. Sigrid Undset is a Norwegian writer who won the Nobel Prize in Literature, so like that's serious writing, you could say. It was my first time reading her, even though I had heard the name before, and I was absolutely blown away by the book. It is a wonderful book. It is inspired by the medieval tales of the Nordic countries, so it is really dark and really adventure kind of focused, but it also has a very psychological side to it, and it presents such a strong female character. I don't think I've ever read such a strong female character. And to give you a real quick synopsis, it is the story of Vigdis, who is the daughter of Gunnar, who is a king. She falls in love with a man called Ljot. He also falls in love with her, but really early on at the beginning of the book, he violents her in such an awful way, and then the story unfolds. It's such a brilliant book. I absolutely recommend it to you. The second book I want to talk about, and this time I'm gonna actually cheat a little bit because this was a book I read in December, but it followed me for January, and even now I think about it, and I've bought all the books by the same author because it was just amazing. I want to talk about Brothers by Yu Hua. Yu Hua is a Chinese writer, and Brothers is an epic description, an epic tale of two brothers who are very different in characters, in aspirations, and in the path they take in life, and we follow them through the different changes that China goes through. the Cultural Revolution and Mao and the communism, and then the liberalism and capitalism that really take over China. It is such a wonderful book. It made me cry several times, and many people who read it with me for my book club cried as well. We all loved the book. No one disliked it. Of course, people loved it more than others, but all in all, it was a wonderful read, and I can only suggest you read it. It was wonderful, a masterpiece of literature, honestly. Now, let's talk about YouTube. The first one I want to talk about is a French YouTube channel, which is just amazing. They have so many interesting, beautiful, inspiring videos, especially in those times where we can't travel, we can't really get out of the house, we can't really do anything. Their videos are amazing. They're called Les Artisans de Demain, and they're a young couple. They've been traveling for, well, a few years now, a couple of years I want to say, and they went through Africa, and then they went from the Middle East and also in like Pakistan and Iran. Their videos are beautifully shot. It almost feels like small and mini documentaries. It's amazing, and they're such positive people. So yeah, I highly suggest you watch them. Then I want to talk about a YouTube channel which is a bit more difficult to categorize. It's called Her 86 Meter Square. It is a YouTube channel which is so poetic and beautiful. I really loved their last video about incense and burning incense, and it felt like such a spiritual and interesting video, and the way it's shot as well, the way they filmed the video is beautiful. It's so cinematographic, and the subjects are always so inspiring and positive and uplifting. They talk about travel and about decorating your house, but also the small things in life that make it so worthwhile. I just love this YouTube channel. It's amazing. Then Paperback Dreams, which is a YouTube channel about books. This is not, I mean, I do not read the type of books that are presented in these videos, but the way, I don't know, just the general enthusiasm that's on this channel is so interesting and so positive and so enjoyable for me. And I also love when she does videos with her father. It's so cute and so nice. And I've actually picked up a few recommendations because they also read sort of like the classics, I would say, of horror and thrillers. And yeah, I was a teenager obsessed with Stephen King, so I have also, you know, some acquaintances with that kind of book, even though I'm focused on classics at the moment. But yeah, I really love this channel. It's so positive, so I always smile when I watch one of her videos, so definitely go check her out. On Instagram, I want to recommend two different accounts. So the first one is the Korean Vegan. Title says it all. A Korean woman who very kindly shares Korean recipes, veganized. It's so good looking. I think it's such a pleasure for the eyes, and also so tasty. I love Korean food, probably one of my favorite cuisines. It's so good and so nice to have veganized versions because Korean food relies quite heavily on meat. So yeah, pretty nice. And the second account is focused on traveling, once again in those very dark and gloomy and uncertain times. Traveling by, you know, via any means possible is always a pleasure. So L'Œil de l'Os, which is, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but anyway, they have amazing pictures, and, you know, pictures of France, but also Canada or Japan, any country they visited. I love their photography. They're so good because they focus on like the big sceneries, the big landscapes, but also small details, which I personally really enjoy. I'm gonna end with films and TV shows. So I only have one film and one TV show to talk about. So the first movie I want to talk about is a movie that I watched recently because it was available on French TV, but I'm sure you can find it online and you can rent it somewhere. So it is called Mishima, A Life in 4 Chapters. It is a Japanese and American movie. by Paul Schrader, and it was just beautiful. Okay, so basically it is a movie about, pretty obvious, the life of the famous Japanese writer Mishima, and it is divided into 4 chapters, each chapter focusing on one of the themes that really was important to Mishima's writing and his own life, because writing and his own life are very, very closely intertwined in the case of Mishima. It was beautifully done, executed. It was very artistic. I personally really enjoyed the different parts where they are recreating extracts of his books, because the movie is also divided into two different I want to say atmospheres or tales. One part is the life of Mishima, the end of his life, and the second part are extracts of his books that are put into play and into the film. It was beautifully done. It was so in a way inspiring. I loved the way they used colors and lights. Honestly, such a beautiful movie. The only thing I would say is that if you do not know Mishima at all, if you do not know his life, if you do not know his writings, the movie might not be really good for you, because if you're gonna be completely lost. But if you're familiar with Mishima, go watch the movie. It was really nice. And if you are not familiar with Mishima, read his life, read 1 or 2 books, and then watch the movie. And the TV show I want to talk about is available on Netflix, and it's a Japanese TV show. It's called Alice in Borderland, or Alice in Borderland. So this is not usually the type of TV shows I will watch. I really focus on TV shows and movies that portray real life, and that are focused on characters and emotions, or on more like, I don't know, serial killers or stuff like that, which is not the case. It is a story of a group of young guys who suddenly find themselves in a Tokyo which is completely deserted, and now if you want to leave, you have to take part in those very violent games, otherwise you die. And it's brilliantly done in some ways. It's really, I really like the story. I really like the way it was executed, apart from a few details that kind of took me out of the story because they felt too unrealistic. But other than that, I really enjoyed it, even though this is not what I will usually watch. And I want to say it is not too violent, because I cannot watch anything that has blood or torture or too much suspense. So you can watch it. If I did watch it, probably you can watch it too. I have the 2 last episodes left, and I'm keeping them for, I don't know, the perfect time. But yeah, it was a really good discovery, so you might enjoy this as well. And it was a good way to practice my Japanese by listening to Japanese. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Once again, thank you for Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Feel free to go check out the link down below. It would be really a shame to miss out on the opportunity of getting a free membership trial. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.